The Breakthrough, a story of hidden poverty and spiritual wealth. Stay to the end to hear the 3 keys to living an abundant life. The sun had barely risen when Clara sat at her kitchen table, staring at the unpaid bills scattered like fallen leaves. The hum of the refrigerator was the only sound in the room, a quiet reminder of its half-empty shelves. To the outside world, Clara was a picture of resilience, a single mother working 2 jobs to keep her small family afloat. But beneath her composed exterior lay a silent battle with hidden poverty. Her daughters still slept, their faces peaceful and unaware of her struggles. She had $15 to stretch through the week, and the weight of scarcity pressed heavily on her chest. Clara had long since mastered the art of making do, but today something in her spirit felt different, frayed, as though she were teetering on the edge of despair. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer, not for money or miracles, but for clarity. "Where are you in this?" she asked, her voice trembling. She had prayed this question countless times before, but today it felt like an urgent plea rather than a rhetorical cry. As she sat in silence, a memory surfaced from years ago, a philosophy class she had taken in college. The professor had quoted Socrates, "Wealth does not bring goodness, but goodness brings wealth and every other blessing." At the time, Clara had dismissed it as idealistic nonsense. But now, with her life stripped to its bare essentials, the words seemed to echo with new meaning. That afternoon, Clara walked to the local food pantry. She hated going, hated how it made her feel exposed, but necessity outweighed pride. As she waited in line, she overheard an elderly man talking about gratitude. "It's strange," he said to no one in particular. "When I lost everything, I found what really matters." Clara glanced at him skeptically, but couldn't shake his words. That evening, as she prepared a simple dinner for her daughters, she tried something new. Instead of focusing on what was missing, the fresh vegetables she couldn't afford, or the dessert they wouldn't have, she thanked God for what was there: warm food on their plates and laughter in their tiny apartment. Over time, this small shift began to transform Clara's perspective. Her circumstances didn't change overnight. The bills still came, and money was still tight. But she started to see abundance where she once saw lack. The giggles of her daughters became treasures, more valuable than gold. The kindness of a neighbor who shared extra groceries felt like divine provision. One Sunday at church, Clara heard a sermon about the widow who gave 2 small coins, all she had, to the temple treasury. Jesus had praised her, not for the amount, but for the spirit in which she gave. Clara realized that wealth wasn't about material possessions. It was about the richness of spirit that comes from trust and generosity. She began volunteering at the food pantry where she once stood in line. Though she had little to give financially, she gave her time and compassion freely. In helping others navigate their own struggles with poverty, Clara discovered a profound sense of purpose. One day, while sorting donations at the pantry, Clara found herself reflecting on another philosophical idea: Plato's warning that unchecked materialism corrodes both individuals and societies. She saw how easily a poverty mindset, whether born from scarcity or greed, could trap people in fear and isolation. But now she understood that true wealth lay in connection with others, with oneself, and with something greater. Clara's breakthrough wasn't flashy or dramatic. It was quiet and steady, like dawn breaking over a dark horizon. She realized that while poverty could strip away comforts, it could also reveal hidden truths about resilience, gratitude, and spiritual abundance. Her daughters grew up watching their mother live not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone whose hands overflowed with unseen riches, love, faith, and hope. And in time, they carried this legacy forward, not defined by what they lacked, but by what they could give. In the end, Clara's story wasn't just about surviving poverty, it was about transcending it through the discovery that true wealth is measured not by what we possess, but by how deeply we live and love. So what are the 3 keys to living an abundant life? These are how it relates to Clara's story. Let's break it down. 1. Gratitude for what exists. Clara begins to recognize the value in simple blessings, such as warm meals and her daughter's laughter. This mirrors the idea that abundance is not about having all material desires met, but about appreciating sufficiency and the richness of life's intangible gifts. 2. Connection and generosity. Despite her financial struggles, Clara finds purpose in volunteering at the food pantry where she once sought help. This act of giving, even when she has little, reflects an abundance mindset, seeing resources as tools for fostering connection and community rather than hoarding for survival. 3. Spiritual wealth over material. Wealth. Clara's transformation aligns with the philosophical notion that true wealth is measured not by possessions, but by the depth of one's spirit and relationships. Her story echoes the principle that abundance is rooted in trust and stewardship, lifting one's perspective beyond physical scarcity. Through Clara's shift from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance, the story demonstrates that true wealth lies in reimagining what we have, not in accumulating more, but in appreciating and sharing what is already present. Subscribe for more modern tales inspired by timeless wisdom.